The WWF, what the world is watching. Turn it on and rip the knob off.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Wrestling Memory Grenade, now at episode 197, and I am Ray Russell, and this week we bring to you the final 2 weeks of May 1989 in the World Wrestling Federation, covering 2 more weeks, closing out yet another month of TV here in the WWF, and it's going to be a blast here as we continue on the story, building towards Saturday night's main event, and the release of No Holds Barred, pal. Moving into the summer of 89 here. As we get rolling this week, not going to waste any time, it's the WWF Superstars of Wrestling, May the 20th, 1989. All right, it is Superstars for May the 20th, tape back April 26th, Omaha, Nebraska, at the Civic Center. It's Vince McMahon, Jesse Ventura on the call here as we go to the ring, kicking it off with Intercontinental Champion Ravishing Rick Rude, Bobby Heenan in his corner, taking on Jim Evans. Jesse Ventura referring to Rude as the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. Vince McMahon correcting the body, saying it's just Intercontinental Champion, pal. Ventura asking, what, is Rude not a heavyweight? Is he a lightweight? Vince responding, well, no, but he won't be champion either for very long. Way to deflect there, Vince, trying to take the heavyweight out of the Intercontinental title, as we get an insert promo here from the Ravishing One, who shows style and grace as the new IC champ, unlike you, warrior. Them's fighting words. As we go to the action, Rick Rude going to leapfrog a Jim Evans charge, and Rude going to celebrate with a little hip swivel there, but turns right around into Jim Evans with an arm drag, and the crowd popping huge for Evans taking Rude down. Rude also missing a corner charge, Evans working the arm of the Ravishing One early on, but it's not long before Rude taking over. Suplex takes Evans down, and almost, well, kind of a neck breaker. Suplex into a Rude Awakening, sort of, indirectly, but we do get the Rude Awakening neck breaker that gets the victory, only 1 minute and 25 seconds here this week for the Intercontinental Champion. Now, post-match, we see a lovely lady step in the ring, chosen for the Ravishing kiss, the Rude Awakening, if you will. But Rude says he doesn't want to kiss this plow horse, so he's going home. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Obviously a plant, I hope. Nothing wrong with this lady. Perfectly fine, 1980s babe, and Rick Rude just not having any of it. Of course, she wasn't wearing a Ravishing One shirt, so that might have had something to do with it. As we continue on, we move on to Update, and Mean Gene Okerlund talking about the return, it's imminent, of the one Superfly, Jimmy Snuka. He'll be back in the WWF rings before too long, and we get a little clip here from WrestleMania 5, Superfly's return, his entrance there, really weird entrance, we've talked about that in the past there at WrestleMania 5, but make no mistake, the Superfly's back, brother, and he's back for quite a while, so stay tuned for that. We also get more No Holds Barred hype. That continues on. Vince McMahon selling it as the biggest movie premiere, perhaps, in world history, pal. We'll have to see about that. We got that coming up, guys. No Holds Barred on the big ones, part of the patreon.com/WrestleCopia, the ultimate tier. John Paz of the two-man power trip going to be joining me as we do a little Mystery Science Theater meets Wrestling Memory Grenade. We're going to cover No Holds Barred, the movie, very shortly. Stay tuned. Should be out this week, actually. So you want to check that out. But we go back to Superstar here. Jesse Ventura also pushing his big return to the ring as he is battling the Masked Marauder right now in Miller Lite commercials. Who is that masked man, you might ask? Jesse plays that up quite a bit here on the next couple episodes of Superstars, a week-to-week story being told in the commercial world for Miller Lite. You believe it or not, the Masked Marauder winds up being, I do believe, Bob Uecker, the Uke himself. So that's some fun stuff. You guys want to go check that out on YouTube. We go back to the ring, though. The Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch, taking on Barry Horowitz and Chris Curtis. We get an insert promo here from the Brainbusters, who are getting sick and tired of the Whackers and their zany antics. Whackers just part of the casualty list, so says Arn, on their way to the tag team gold. In the ring, though, it is Luke and Butch. Take it to Barry Horowitz early on, even patting each other on the back, mate. Double clothesline on Barry and one for Chris Curtis running in as well, as Curtis going to tag in but runs into the battering ram and the double gutbuster, giving the Bushwhackers the win in 2 minutes and 8 seconds. And boy, are the Bushwhackers over here with the fans in Omaha. But we continue on. Tag team champions, Demolition, promoting No Holds Barred and the brand new WWF magazine. Et tu, Demos? Everybody pushing the premiere of NHB. That's No Holds Barred, but I guess it makes sense. They're all under the employment of the guy who's making the movie. And if I remember correctly, we opened the movie with Rip versus Bill Eadie. So indirectly, Demolition have a reason to be promoting this movie after all. It's time, though, guys. We go back to the ring for the coronation of our brand new king, King Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We see Mean Gene Okerlund and the baby faces galore piled into the ring here, minus the Hulkster brother. I think Jake also missing in action here for this one, but Jim Duggan out to be coronated the new king of the WWF. And fun note here, this was actually taped. This coronation was taped at a different event, April the 4th in Glens Falls, New York, Duggan's hometown, hoping for the big pop there. It was also taped before Duggan actually won the crown. Take that for what it's worth. As Duggan enters the ring, he takes his place upon the throne. We get the split screen as we head backstage. We see Bobby Heenan and Andre the Giant trying to console an upset Haku for losing his crown, holding a towel over his ears. He doesn't want to hear the reaction of the new king. The heels reassuring Haku, you will be king once again. Meanwhile, back to the ring, Mean Gene then begins to coronate Duggan, reading a proclamation. Duggan going to give us the big thumbs up, tough guy, and his tongue sticking out, classic Hacksaw pose. Big John Studd then placing the crown on the new king's head, as Tito Santana assisting Duggan with the royal robe. Bret Hart handing Duggan the American flag, and Beefcake his trusty 2x4. Everybody handing Duggan bits and parts of his new attire here. As we are once again in split screen mode, as it would appear Bobby Heenan has concocted some sort of a dastardly idea against Hacksaw, as the heels all begin to laugh. Duggan then taking a seat on his royal sedan as he is carried away to the familiar king theme. Man, you know, as bad as this could have been, the overness of Duggan with the crowd makes it passable. And the look, man, you got to love the look of Hacksaw. The only way you can do it better is maybe paint your face red, white, and blue. Stay tuned for that. As we continue on, we got more action now in the ring. Rick Martel with new manager Slick, his opponent JT Thomas. Well put together, gentlemen. We get an insert promo here from Tito Santana. He's heard Martel put over his great body and looks as of late. Well, Tito doesn't care about any of that. An attitude adjustment is what Rick Martel needs, and an attitude adjustment coming Martel's way. Arriba! In the ring, Martel now in the powder blue that he'll be using for the next while there in his trunks. Aggressive assault here from Martel on JT Thomas. Lots of showboating in between the moves, playing to the fans. Gut-wrench suplex setting Thomas up. Diving knee drop from the top rope. Rick Martel going over. 2 minutes and 10 seconds as the Slickster says, turn out the lights, the party's over. The Slickster loving him some Rick Martel as we go off now to this week's Brother Love show. Brother Love back after a week hiatus. Last week it was Miss Elizabeth in a special interview. This week, Brother Love's guest, Jake the Snake Roberts, as we get a flashback clip just a couple weeks ago, Ted DiBiase attacking the Snake right here on Superstars. Jake entering the Brother Love show with Damien out of bag. Brother Love referencing the slimy snake. Jake implies he must be talking about himself. The Snake Man says that DiBiase isn't made of the material needed to suffer through the storm that's coming his way. Brother Love wants to know what Jake did with the money the $1 Million Man stuffed down his throat after that attack. Jake says, well, he took that money and bought himself a bigger snake. Jake then shoving Damien in the face of Brother Love, scaring Brother off his own set, who is none too pleased, by the way. Sadly, just as this thing is starting to get moving, it won't be long before Jake goes away for the entire summer. Storyline injuries will occur and real-life injuries supposedly play a part, but it's the current legal charges against Jake that will keep him off the road. As we continue on, feature match this week, going to see the Red Rooster, Terry Taylor, taking on Brooklyn Brawler, Steve Lombardi, still managed by Bobby Heenan, surprisingly. And man, are they really reaching for a feature match to keep this May sweeps thing going. So we're going to add a special referee here and one rugged Ronnie Garvin for a little extra seasoning on the steak, if you will. Now, I thought we blew this off at the March Saturday night's main event, moving into WrestleMania, Rooster pinning Brawler on NBC in just 1 minute's time, but nope. Back at it again, and 4 months of house shows to boot. So we'll see if this match here on Superstars is the blow-off or not. Something tells me we got this to look forward to. Use that term loosely. For at least a few more weeks here on the house shows, but we'll have to wait and see as the Roosters theme begins to crow, Vince McMahon laughing, and utters the line, "Ha ha! I believe this guy really thinks he's a rooster, Jess." And Vince loving that. He loves the fact that Terry Taylor believes that he is an actual fucking chicken. Anywho, back to the ring. The Genius with an insert promo here. I think he calls Terry Taylor cute in this poem, but predicts the Brawler will win due to Bobby's brains at ringside. And the bell sounds underway. They go nose to nose, or is that nose to beak? Trading shots as the Rooster and Brawler, which Terry Taylor wins. Brawler going down as the Rooster Boosters cheer on Mr. Poultry in Motion. Rooster hitting a nice back suplex, which sends Lombardi outside for a little Bobby advice. Back inside, we hear loud weasel chants as we get a patented Taylor knee drop right across the bridge of the nose of the Brawler, but Terry running into a Brooklyn boot in the corner. Heenan going to slap the Rooster across the face, then Brawler with a nice clothesline taking Terry down. Brawler then going to go to the top rope, but Rooster right there to catch him, slamming him off the top into the middle of the ring, following up with a swinging neck breaker by Terry Taylor. And I think the Rooster might be cocking up. Here we go. Hammerlock slam, softening the Brawler up, working that arm over as Terry looking for that brand new finisher, the elevated chicken wing. But nope, the Brawler going to cut him off. Grabs Terry by his tights and sends him out to the floor. Well scouted, Lombardi. The Rooster, however, going to slingshot suplex back inside, but Brawler holding out of the ropes. However, referee Ronnie Garvin kicking Lombardi's hands off the ropes, and down goes the Brawler into the Rooster sunset flip. Or would that be a sunrise flip? Get it? Rooster, sunrise? No? Okay. Either way, it only gets 2 count. Brawler kicking out on 2 in that sunset, but Lombardi is hopping mad, immediately up and arguing with Ronnie Garvin for kicking his hands. But the Rooster from behind with a schoolboy gets the 1, 2, 3, and boy is Bobby Heenan pissed. The Rooster pinning the Brawler 4 minutes and 51 seconds. Well, as for a wrestling match, totally unoffensive. And honestly, what the first one should have been had they given him 5 minutes on NBC. But the Rooster gets the win, but he had to have Ronnie Garvin help him to do it. Not really sure what that has to say about the future of Terry Taylor here, but we're not done yet, guys. Post-match, the Brawler attacking referee Ron Garvin from behind, taking him down to his knees, but it isn't long. Garvin comes fighting right back, shot to the gut, and the big hand of stone sends the Brawler packing out of the ring. Oh, this looks fun. Now it's Ronnie Garvin and Bobby Heenan alone in the ring. And just looking at this, just for a brief second, it felt like money to me. But Bobby wisely bailing. They don't call him the brain for nothing. The heels retreat as Garvin did more to the Brawler in 1 punch than they let Terry Taylor do in 5 minutes. Kind of sad. But nevertheless, Terry Taylor picking up the victory, and hopefully this feud has come to an end. We'll have to wait and see as we continue on. Another trailer, another clip of No Holds Barred coming out next week, pal. June 2. Stay tuned for that. Back to the ring, though. It's Mr. Perfect taking on Red Tyler, one of my favorite prelim guys. And I'm not sure if this is Tyler's debut or if he's been here before. I don't remember if we've covered him, but very early on in his career here, working underneath for the WWF off and on for the next several years, Curt Hennig and Red Tyler in the ring, but we get an insert promo from the Hitman, Bret Hart, who admits that Mr. Perfect can execute moves excellently, much like the Hitman, but the Hitman plans to end the perfect streak of one Curt Hennig. Get in line, Bret. But looking forward to the matches anyway. As I mentioned, early look at the put-together Tyler here in the ring. Mr. Perfect taking Tyler down multiple times with his speed and amateur-style background, slapping Tyler around as well, as we get a patented perfect knee lift and the axe right across the bridge of the face, the big clothesline, the forearm, whatever the hell that is. It's effective. And now you're going to see a perfect plex gets the win. 1 minute and 25 seconds. Curt Hennig closing out this week's edition of WWF Superstars. Well, we talked about it on the last episode of The Grenade, a change on Superstars, new intro, new graphics, all of that good stuff. And, Wrestling Challenge had to wait a couple weeks, but here we go with the new edition of WWF Wrestling Challenge, May the 21st, 1989. All right, guys, before we get rolling with Challenge here this week, I covered this many, many years ago here on The Grenade, or feels like it anyway, and I want to do it again because the same troll that pestered me about this before is doing it once again. He seems to overlook everyone else that does it, and he has a hard-on for coming after me, and sad to say, I hate blocking people on social media, so I literally have nobody blocked except for this gentleman. I blocked him on Twitter when it was clear that he was just trolling me quite a while back, and now he's decided to come over to the Facebook world and troll me once again. And his big hard-on here is specifically for the dates I give the Wrestling Challenge shows, believe it or not. Some people have nothing going on, I suppose, and they need to do these things. And so I'm going to address it here again. It's been a while, so I'll do it for anybody curious. Now, the syndicated packages that were released by the WWF to the various markets across the states here were, of course, Superstars Wrestling Challenge, and if you decided to pick it up, Spotlight. We had Spotlight in my market. And, of course, those would air based on whenever the specific market felt like it was the proper time. Now, some of these shows aired back-to-back on Saturdays. Some of these shows, like in particular in my market, would air Superstars Saturday at 11 a.m. and Wrestling Challenge Sunday at 11 a.m. And other times you can see actually commercials if you go on YouTube or any of that nature. You can actually see that sometimes these shows would air random Thursdays, Fridays, Tuesdays, technically any day of the week, but they were slated to begin airing Saturdays, Superstars and Wrestling Challenge specifically. And so when we do this, I separate the dates, Superstars and Challenge, by Saturday and Sunday, not only because it worked that way in my market, but also to clear up any confusion so we can separate everything by date. Now, you can easily go to the historyofwwe.com, Richard Land, Graham Coughlin. You can see they do the same thing there. You can go to Scott Keith's rants online as well. See, he does the same thing there. But those get overlooked by this gentleman, and he only seems to come after me, and so I'm addressing it again. I don't believe that he listens to this program, but just in case, or if somebody knows who he is and wants to pass this along, I'm not going to do him any favors by putting him over here and mentioning his name on my program, but kind of an odd bird who lives in between apparently old school wrestling and random like OnlyFans people. And I'll leave it at that. Nevertheless, what you heard there, the intro to the new Wrestling Challenge, is a 1 week off, is a 1 week only theme. It's actually going to be enhanced, and you'll hear that here in week 2 of the program this week as we cover the next edition of Wrestling Challenge. They're going to, I guess you could say, enhance the music, the theme, to give it a little more oomph behind it. But this is a 1 week only theme, very rare. Wrestling Challenge for May the 21st, tape back April 25th, Des Moines, Iowa, Veterans Memorial Auditorium. Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon on commentary. We kick it off with Brutus the Barber Beefcake battling Mike Thomas as the beefer rocking the new hairdo, courtesy of the Macho Man and Sensational Sherry. Similar to his hair, kinda, when he was first turning babyface. Gonna grow it all over again. Think about it. He's the barber, and he's already suffered 2 haircuts. courtesy of Adonis and Randy Savage. Speaking of the Macho Man and the Sensational One, we get an insert promo here from Sherry, who says Beefcake isn't the only person in the WWF that can do some cutting and strutting, mocking the haircut there of the barber. Early on, Beefcake can't budge Big Mike Thomas, but a high knee finally sending Thomas out through the ropes to the floor. Once back inside, Thomas landing a few shots in the corner, but it's Beefcake turning it around and unloading 10 punches o' doom, and then some generic barber offense before the sleeper hold, putting Thomas down. Beefcake even having to jump on the back of Big Mike. He's a pretty big guy. Crowd even counting the arm drops this week, so the crowd really into this in Des Moines. The barber getting the win 2 minutes and 53 seconds and a little post-match haircut for old Big Mike. As we go off now to Special Report, and Lord Alfred Hayes talking about Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We see a clip here, Duggan defeating Haku to become the new king of the WWF. We also get promos from both sides, and Haku upset that Hacksaw stole his crown, his cape, and his glory. Haku coming back for what is rightfully his. Meanwhile, Hacksaw proud to be the new king, but reminds us this is America. All men are created equal. Well, that's a novel idea anyway. Nevertheless, Duggan happy to be your king. Tough guy. We continue on. More action in the ring. The Canadian strongman Dino Bravo with new manager Jimmy Hart. Bravo's opponent this week, Scott Colton, is Gorilla asking the question of the elephant in the room. What happened to Frenchie Martin, Brain? Bobby says he was injured. Gorilla replies, yeah, his heart was broken. Of course, referencing that Frenchie Martin was Garvin stomped out of the WWF at WrestleMania 5. Dino Bravo here this week debuting some new gear. The shiny blue cape and matching weightlifting belt thingy. And I don't remember this one, but Dino Bravo in plain white trunks with Dino in cursive written across the ass. Didn't take Jimmy Hart long to acquire a new jacket either. Decked out in the fleur-de-lis now in the Jimmy Hart jacket. Boy, his seamstress was right on top of things. But Dino Bravo in an all-new look. And I'll say this much. Bravo looks more like a star now with this upgrade in gear. But he also looks even bigger, which can't equate to a better work rate. But he does try really hard here this week. We get an insert promo, by the way, from the mighty Hercules, who tells Dino the only reason that Herc exists is to be the world's strongest man. It's his destiny. Jeez, Herc. You got to live a little. Anyways, in the ring, Gorilla Monsoon randomly shouting out photographer Steve Taylor ringside for this action as we get a folding back suplex, inverted atomic drop, double underhook suplex. Man, Dino really feeling it this week. Pair of jumping elbow drops before a pile driver and airplane spin, finally setting up for that side suplex, Joss. Gonna get the win 2 minutes, 39 seconds. Dino Bravo pulling out all the stops this week. He was feeling it. Feeling good in the new gear. I don't blame him. Can't trash him this week. But what I can trash is old Hillbilly Jim to promote No Holds Barred. Now business is picking up when even Hillbilly Jim drives into town, wee doggies, to watch the movies. Big talking picture box there in the theaters. Can't have one of those in Mud Lick. As we go back to the ring for Tito Santana taking on Tom Stone, we get an insert poem from the genius who puts over Rick Martel's look, his ability, really focusing on Martel's looks all of a sudden. And Arriba Santana stands no chance against his former partner Rick Martel, so genius now needling guys in other feuds just to get that heel character over a little more. In the ring, though, it is arm work by Tito on Tom Stone. Eventually, Santana drop-kicking Stone out to the floor, then right back into the ring for another armbar. Now, Tom Stone able to hip toss himself free, but runs into a Tito back elbow right to the mush, setting up the flying forearm. Gets the win, 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Man, Tito, they give you 3 minutes, and this is what you do with it. Arm bars. Never change. As we continue on, more action in the ring. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, with bodyguard Virgil. DiBiase's opponent this week, Jimmy Powers, who even gets his own entrance here, coming out to crank it up, the old Young Stallions theme. Good pop, too, for young Jimmy. As the referee, again, the returning Danny Davis back as an official. Another mention of his probation here on commentary as well. We get an insert promo here from Jake the Snake Roberts, talks dancing with DiBiase, but Damien and Jake will lead. And they lead with the DDT. Now, DiBiase and Jimmy Powers going to exchange arm ringers before it leads to Teddy running the ropes. Powers trying for a hip lock, but DiBiase reversing the move, slamming Powers down and gloating to the fans. Back up, we reset a little bit here as Powers slides over a slam attempt, landing a pair of drop kicks on the $1 Million Man, but Jimmy battling back briefly before running into a back elbow from DiBiase, and soon after it's the power slam, softening Powers up for the $1 Million Dream. Danny Davis raising Powers' arm only once, letting it drop before calling for the bell. 2 minutes and 29 seconds, the $1 Million Man getting the victory, and post-match, stuffing a $100 bill down the throat of Jim Powers. Jake versus DiBiase, man, with the initial heat, wow, what could have been. These guys so good, just good enough to pick it back up in the fall, too. But you can feel it here when it's fresh on your mind coming out of WrestleMania 5. Just unfortunate. As we continue on, special interview. We saw one last week on Superstars. Tony Schiavone speaking with lovely Miss Elizabeth this week. It's Mean Gene up on the platform talking to Liz as well in a beautiful blue dress. Gene asking Liz about the comments made by Randy Savage and new manager, sensational Scary Sherry. Elizabeth admitting the comments hurt, but she has no control over how Randy's been acting and thanks the fans for their continued support. Mean Gene pointing out that Sherry will now be in the Macho Man's corner upon his rematches with Hulk Hogan for the WWF title. Liz says she's very concerned, as she is clearly reciting memorized lines here, but she believes in Hulk Hogan, she believes in Hulkamania, and with the support of the Hulkamaniacs, the Hulkster will remain WWF champion. And the crowd absolutely loving that. But basically, same as last week's promo with Tony Schiavone, just a wrestling challenge version here for the B Show. And we get an idea of where Elizabeth stands, no longer with Randy Savage, still supporting the Hulkster here. So total babyface is Miss Liz as we get our challenge trailer for No Holds Barred, then Back to the Ring feature match. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. The Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty taking on Jacques and Raymond, the fabulous Rougeau Brothers. Now, during the Rougeaus' entrance, they stop at ringside as their music cuts out. Oh, blasphemy. You can't do that to the Rougeau theme. What's that about? What's up with that? So the Rougeaus' music cutting before they can even get to the ring, and then we hear another theme begin to play. Well, it sounds like the Rockers' theme, only slightly different. It now has words, guys.
Oh, look at that music cut out all of a sudden, quick, just like that.
Be a power failure here.
Yeah.
Des Moines.
Somebody else doesn't like the Rougeaus. Oh, there's some music. They'll all be on their feet here in a minute. That was very rude. Here they come, the Rockers. And look at Brain and listen. The Rockers are also singing this theme song.
They are?
That's right.
Well, that song stinks.
Quiet and listen.
We like to rock and roll.
I don't like rock music anyway.
Rougeaus are upset. We've got Tony Schiavone at ringside. Maybe he can get a few words from them.
Okay, we are down here ringside with three men obviously upset, but you know the Rockers coming into the ring. That was their song and these two men singing, and they sounded pretty good.
You've got to be crazy, you idiot. That's horrible. First of all, who has the right and the nerve to take off the fabulous Rougeau Brothers music, man, and put that garbage on there? These guys can't sing. They were out of key. That song is horrible, man.
He's the only guy who knows that talks in high C.
You guys, you copycats, think that you're something else, now don't you? We went to Memphis, Tennessee, and recorded our own song. So what do? You go and record a song. You had to copy us now, didn't you? I want you rockers to know one thing. You're a disgrace to all these people here.
He's right. So are those people disgrace to those people there?
And you're also a disgrace to all the people in our United States of America.
They're not citizens.
Tell them, Raymond.
They're not American citizens.
As a matter of fact,
They love it here.
They don't even have a green card.
As a matter of fact, we don't appreciate that you cut our song off short, so you came out here and we had to listen to your lousy song.
Well, we're going to have a match here or what?
You do
ring the bell. Let's get this thing going.
We have decided that we're not going to wrestle you tonight.
That'll show him. Play
Well,
the
then
music.
get out if you're not going to wrestle. Oh, they're not going to have any choice.
There's singing in the Rockers theme, and the voices are familiar too. That was Shawn and Marty on the vocals. Ooh, we're the Rockers. Catchy tune. Tony Schiavone just happens to be wandering around ringside to get Jimmy Hart's take on the new Rockers theme, as clearly the tag team specialists, are mocking the nerd Rougeaus, showing anything the Rougeaus can do, the Rockers can do better. Well, that's debatable. Naturally, Jimmy Hart irate about the out-of-key garbage he just heard, baby. Raymond Rougeau referring to the Rockers as, you guys are just copycats. Yeah, that's some heel heat. They're copycat Rockers, and a disgrace to the fans. Even further, a disgrace to all of the people, the good people of the Rougeaus United States. In fact, Raymond going to go even further, stating that after the Rockers cut the Rougeaus theme off in disrespect, Shawn and Marty don't even deserve to wrestle the fabulous Rougeaus this week, so the brothers have decided they're not going to wrestle tonight. And as the Rougeaus turn their backs to celebrate, the Rockers have other ideas as they leap from the ring, attacking the brothers out on the floor, and the brawl is on. It's Bonzo Gonzo around ringside. Jimmy Hart, though, distracting Marty Jannetty long enough for Jacques to catch Jannetty in the back with a high knee, sending Marty face first right into the steel post. Down goes Jannetty, and then the Rougeaus begin to double-team Shawn Michaels on the outside. The All-American boys removing their jackets, getting serious now as they continue the assault. Raymond holding Shawn, laying him across the apron, holding him down while Jacques jumps off the apron, down into Michaels' throat with Jimmy Hart's megaphone. Ooh, man, that's gotta hoit. Great spot there. Did not see that coming, but we're not done yet. Shawn now visibly bleeding from the mouth. Not sure if the megaphone caught him on the mouth there, busted his lip. But Jacques now going to hold Shawn up while Raymond's turn to swing the megaphone like a baseball bat into the throat of the future HBK. Down goes Shawn Michaels as Jimmy Hart shouts, "That's what they get, baby!" Marty Jannetty finally back up to check on down Shawn, who's clutching his throat, bleeding from the mouth. Great visual here. Shawn really selling the injury as we fade to black. Well, this wouldn't be the first time we were promised a feature match with the Rockers in a top heel tag team that would devolve into shenanigans before we even get a match. I think they did that twice with the Brainbusters, but it was more just of a wild melee back and forth to excite the fans for the matches at the house shows. This was an actual angle to garner some serious heat. And after those megaphone shots to the throat, maybe a few years before Shawn can sing his own theme music again. I always wondered where he got that raspy voice from. Excellent angle, though, that tells me they're finally moving the Rougeaus away from the Bushwhackers for now, but also the first thing they've really done with the Rougeaus of any serious consequence since the initial Hart Foundation contract angle back in the early fall of '88. And I'm all the way in on this one. The Rockers and the Rougeaus at a house show near you. Bring it on as we continue on one more match this week on Challenge. The Ultimate Warrior taking on Barry Horowitz. We get an insert promo from IC champ Rick Rude, who continues to taunt Warrior Man from afar about no longer being the IC champ. Barry Horowitz jumping the Warrior upon entering the ring, but UW is out of control. Without the gold around his waist, Warrior has lost his mind as he beats down on Horowitz, calling out Rick Rude into the camera. Big clothesline, bigger boot, power slam by the Warrior, setting up the Gorilla Press Drop, and big splash, getting the win, 3 minutes and 21 seconds. I talked about Duggan being over. I talked about the Bushwhackers being over, but man, oh man, is the Ultimate Warrior over here in '89. Post-match, UW putting Horowitz over the shoulder, taking him backstage. No idea what happens when we get back there. Again, as a kid, I just thought he was taking their souls. Not really sure what was happening there, but the Warrior taking Barry off to the back. As next week we learn special interview with Zeus and an update on the condition of Shawn Michaels after that assault from the fabulous Rougeaus. As we move on to May 22nd, primetime wrestling, Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Primetime Wrestling. I'm Gorilla Monsoon, and
I'm your host, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Okay, roll the match with Ravishing Rick Rude.
just a moment.
People want to see the Intercontinental
It's not time
Champion.
to roll the match with Ravishing Rick Rude. That comes much later in the program.
Okay, waste of people's time.
Along with the Rougeaus, taking on two guys that are going to give them all kinds of trouble, Brain.
The Rockers.
Yeah.
Well, the Rockers are a great tag team, but they're not.
Better than the Brainbusters.
No.
Oh, not that good, right?
Long day.
It's going to be a long week. I got news for you. How about we're just, what, a week and a couple of days away, Brain? It's
the
going to
opening of
explode everywhere.
No holes barred.
And you now know where you're going, don't you? No, you don't.
Yes,
you don't
I
have
do.
a clue.
I know exactly where I'm
You
going.
don't have a clue. You won't be available.
Where am I going?
You can't make it.
Why?
I don't know, Brain. You're just too much.
Well, I'd like, if you're going to some big event, I'd certainly like to be there.
You would?
Yes, I would.
Well,
The
maybe,
people demand it. I owe it to them.
maybe I can arrange it, even though you said you weren't available.
I'm not sitting in a balcony with some fat girl with popcorn.
Well,
Don't do those things.
I have a personal invitation
Don't
for
like
you
popcorn.
from the Rosati sisters. They said that
There's. Oh, I guess we're going to see it on the widescreen, huh?
interesting matchups all through this week's Primetime Wrestling, as always.
There's enough corn in Iowa to feed the Rosatis at a show.
Will you stop? They always were nice to you, weren't they?
Yeah, they
brought you all kinds of gifts
They
and
gave you a
everything.
banana squirt gun to squirt me in the eye with.
Everything. Where's my banana gun?
It's not my gun. You don't know where your gun is. That's your
I'll
fault.
find it somewhere. I'll take a look while I introduce this first match. Boris Zukov, the guy with a big cranium, taking on two guys, Frankie and, of course, Coco Beware.
He's got a big head.
Well, there you hear it. No Holds Barred is coming, for those who don't know, and Gorilla alerting the Brain that the Rosati sisters have invited them, their guests, to the premiere of No Holds Barred. Bobby asking if it will be aired on a wide screen. Of course, Gorilla hated those jokes, but boy, did he crack up at them. As we continue on, we're going to talk more now. Coming out of that Rude squash we talked about earlier, Bobby Heenan going to talk a little bit about the dismissal of the Rude Awakening Kiss and the upcoming return of Jimmy Snuka.
Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, really looked good, Brain.
Look fantastic.
So did that young lady that you ignored and humiliated.
Well, first of all, she had on Levi.
What do you mean, Levi?
Levi's. Denim
Dungarees.
material.
Yeah, so what?
Children wear that. If you want to come in the ring and have a rude awakening, be properly dressed. But let's talk about something important. Did you see that beautiful outfit Snuka had on?
Yes.
Obviously,
Spends a lot of money on his ring attire.
well, it's obviously the Tahitian Garden Motel in downtown Maui. He's
it
missing a
is
shower curtain.
not. Will you stop? That's
what I thought it was
ridiculous.
Okay, a
Why do you always
tablecloth.
try to humiliate everyone?
Well, look how he's dressed. The man's an illiterate. He's a tree monkey.
How about the way Ravishing Rick dresses?
Snazzy, huh?
Snazzy?
I would say so.
Anybody that vain to put their own face on their tights on both sides, front and back? It's got to be a little soft upstairs.
Well,
Not
look at
playing with a
Snuka.
full deck.
Look at Snuka. Look at the way he dresses. Wearing flowered muumuus at his age.
Plenty more action still to come. We'll be right back.
I won't see it.
All right, well, there you hear Bobby referencing Rick Rude's recent dismissal of the Rude Awakening Kiss before pivoting to the return of the Superfly and his flowered muumuus. And, of course, the term illiterate tree monkey came into play there. As we continue on even more, Gorilla Monsoon alerting we have a guest this week, but don't worry, Brain. It's simply Tony Schiavone making his primetime wrestling debut. Tony's got a little announcement to make, and we're going to hear Bobby's thoughts on the entire thing.
So much for you and the Brawler.
It's all right for Ronnie Garvin, rugged Ronnie Garvin, to kick his hand. But when Lombardi retaliates after the match, well, that's all wrong. Two sets of rules for everybody, huh?
Well, you got that right. We finally got something right.
It's not fair.
Not fair.
No. Are you going to be bringing on guests interrupting my program?
Yeah, coming up in a moment, it'll be our guest, Tony Schiavone. And
I don't like the idea of him being out here.
personally, I don't care whether you like the idea or not.
Personally, I don't like Tony Giovanni.
No, it's Schiavone.
Doesn't matter. It's close enough. Stupid name like that. Could have picked a nice name like Smith.
Yeah,
Easy for
like
broadcasting.
Weasel, right?
Tony Weasel.
That
Doesn't
Weasel
sound
moved
bad.
pretty fast in the ring, I tell you that. You were running for your life.
Well, I didn't want to get my clothes damaged. Otherwise,
yeah.
I'd have dropped him.
Yeah, sure. Everyone's talking about June. Wow, be sure and get to your theater early. Get your popcorn and milk duds up front. You won't want to leave your seat for any reason once
That
this
movie's
starts.
like the first time I went to the Beverly Hills Drive-In.
Will you?
Thrills and chills the whole evening. A lot of action. Movie wasn't bad either.
You would know a good movie if it fell on you.
Yes, I would.
But there's going to be somebody coming up in a few moments who would, referring to my special guest this week.
He's going to stay on your side of the
friend,
desk.
Tony Schiavone. You're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more of this
friend of
youngster.
mine.
Did I say he was your friend?
No, you didn't have to.
Did I ask you to be his friend? No. I just asked you to sit there.
I've had one guest on in 3 years, the Brawler, and I've never heard the end of it.
You boy, you'll never be on again. You can bank on it.
I'm going to have more guests on.
Complete mayhem.
Leave.
Me leave.
Yes, leave. Get out of here now.
Stay with us, folks. Plenty more action,
Giovanni in
including
the
our
doorway.
feature
We'll
still
give
to
you
come.
a pizza.
And Tony Schiavone will be right
extra
here
banana.
with us. We're back, folks, and it's guest time here this week on Primetime Wrestling. So please welcome with me for the first time, but you can bet not the last, Tony Schiavone. Tony.
Gorilla.
Welcome to Primetime
Hey, Tony,
Wrestling.
how are
See
you?
you again.
Good to have you here.
What is this?
How you doing?
Why don't you say some of the derogatory things you said about it?
Here's a little
You
no-holds-barred
hypocrite.
button for you.
I have one, thank you.
Yeah, but two it'll good in that suit.
You don't have a clue
New,
why
huh?
Tony Schiavone is here with us this week, do you?
The premier announcers in the World Wrestling Federation. Who cares?
Yeah, who
He's
cares?
here.
You're going to care because Tony Schiavone is going to be with us every week here on Primetime Wrestling.
Couldn't be happier.
He does tremendous work with Coliseum Home Video, and
Don't think.
don't listen to him. He's a hypocrite, Tony.
I can't.
I'm
I
happy
admire your
that you're
patience,
here.
sir. I
I'm
admire your
happy that
patience.
you're here, and I'm happy that you're
Thank
going
you.
to
It's good being
be a
here.
permanent part of Primetime Wrestling, and
How
all
permanent?
the folks out there are going to be.
Well, in what capacity, may I ask? Permanent.
He's going to have his own little segment here on Primetime Wrestling and show us some. Well, go ahead, you tell us. Tony.
Show us some of the Coliseum videos now out on the marketplace. And as a matter of fact, the first one we're going to show is going to be from WrestleMania 5. And right
great.
now, we can certainly say that it is one of the hottest sports videos on the market, maybe the hottest sports video on the
It
market.
certainly is.
You won't be on like 2 hours, though. You'll just be
No,
on a
it's just,
segment.
it's just a
Oh,
little.
well, welcome to Primetime.
Thank you very much.
That's my pleasure.
We're going to show the fans here today on Primetime just a segment from WrestleMania 5. Rick Martel as he turned on Tito Santana.
Tremendous action footage from WrestleMania 5, courtesy of Coliseum Home Video, and I'm glad to see the turnaround. At least you're going to be friendly with the guy, and
Tony Schiavone?
Tony Schiavone's going to be with us every week.
Well, like I was saying before, the guy's nothing but a creep. No business for him to be out here hawking down a...
What a hypocrite you are.
Well, I learned a long time ago. The nicer you are, the quicker you can dust them off.
Whether
We don't
you
need him
like
out
the
here.
guy or not is strictly immaterial, Brain, because he's going to be here every week on Primetime Wrestling with a segment with the current releases from Coliseum Home Video.
Comes out
Too
here
bad.
with his $49 WWF blazer on, saying, well, hi, Gorilla, what a great program you have. I almost
Don't
knocked
you
him
dare
out.
away. More action to come. We'll be back with the Warlord in a moment.
Well, Bobby Heenan blasting Gorilla for bringing someone onto the set without his permission, but then does an about face when Tony actually arrives. Bobby, great friends with Tony Schiavone, it would seem, that is, until Tony leaves. And then Bobby right back at it again. Classic Brain there. But Tony Schiavone going to be doing a new segment weekly for the time being here on Primetime Wrestling. A little Coliseum Corner, looking at little clips of the Coliseum videos, hoping to boost up those rental sales. As this week on Primetime, we've got a trifecta, apparently, of exclusive matches. 2 matches taped May the 17th, Duluth, Minnesota. A new look, Coco Beware, now painted up like a parrot. His hair dyed blonde and some red and yellow and maybe green, I don't remember here, paint on the sides of his head. But Coco now, not just doing the bird, but maybe he is a bird. I don't know why they didn't put Rooster and Coco together, but it is the Birdman over Boris Zukov, missile drop kick and a fist drop. Going to get the win, 5 minutes and 9 seconds. Also, we see the Warlord with the running power slam on Paul Roma. Match goes 4:39. Danny Davis, the official there. And taped May the 16th in La Crosse, Wisconsin, Mr. Perfect scoring a win over Jim Powers in 5:52 with the Perfect Plex. And we've got an entire another week of exciting WWF action coming to you guys. But before we get there, we're going to take this quick WrestleCopia timeout.
Relive the glory days of Memphis wrestling with the Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast. Each week, we go back in time to review USWA Championship Wrestling from the 1990s, episode by episode. Join us for watch-alongs, behind-the-scenes stories, and exclusive interviews with people who were there and lived it. Whether you grew up watching it or you're discovering it for the first time, this podcast is your ringside seat to Memphis wrestling history. It's all a part of the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Listen now at USWApodcast.com.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here. Lots of new stuff happening here at WrestleCopia. and I want to update you on everything going on with the brand right now. First and simple, if you haven't checked out our website at WrestleCopia.com, it's a great way to keep up with the latest episodes of all of your favorite Copia programming, from the Wrestling Memory Grenade to Regional Wrestling with the Territory Talk, the Wrestling Stoop with the legendary Bob Roop, Professor Dan Ginnity and the Pro Wrestling Academy, and all the other great podcasts from Gene Jackson, Bob Smith, Dave Dynasty, and the boys from the Other Ship. And of course, all of those programs also available at your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the Copia world, all the latest news, random thoughts, fun videos, pictures, and more, make sure to join the more than 33,000 followers over at Facebook.com/Wrestling Grenade. Don't be left out. Please also follow us at the former Twitter, now X, at Wrestling Grenade, and subscribe to YouTube.com/Wrestling Grenade. Would also greatly appreciate you leaving us a 5-star review at your favorite podcast apps, guys, because every positive review makes our podcasts more visible in the algorithms, if you will, which allows us to continue to grow. Now, for those who have been asking about merchandise, WrestleCopia merch, you can find plenty of designs for our t-shirts, hats, magnets, stickers, coffee mugs, and more over at the TeePublic store. That is teepublic.com/user/WrestleCopia. And last but definitely not least, it's what keeps the entire machine going. I'm talking about patreon.com/WrestleCopia. Now with 3 major tiers and tons of Patreon exclusive next level content for our supporters. Remember guys, no subscription, cancel any time, but I think you'll like the content that we're offering there for any budget you may have. And you can sign up right now, patreon.com/WrestleCopia. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia Podcast Network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all the quality programming that we offer.
This is Wrestling Nostalgia, the podcast that dives into wrestling history. Hey, wrestling fans, I'm Dave Dynasty, and if you enjoy podcasts that are knowledgeable and history-driven, then Wrestling Nostalgia is for you. With great guests and fun interviews, there are over 200 episodes in our archives. We chat with several first-time guests and often cover topics not discussed on other podcasts. Look up Wrestling Nostalgia on your favorite podcast platform and visit all of our links at linktree/WrestlePod. That is linktr.ee/RASSLEPOD. And remember, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and keep on growing.
Man, it's in an action-packed time period here in the WWF. We're going to continue on. Superstars, May the 27th, tape back April 26th, Omaha, Nebraska. Jesse Ventura, Vince McMahon out here once again. We go to the ring for the Birdman. Koko Beware, not in the new look. This was actually taped to the tapings prior to the ones we saw in primetime. So this is old school Koko taking on the Black Knight, a.k.a. Billy Anderson. But Koko, while he doesn't have the new look hair and paint style, he is out in shiny new gear. Parrots on his boots and tights. And the real parrot, the macaw, Frankie, ringside as well. Referee here for this one is Danny Davis, as we get an insert poem from the genius who talks the bird brain beware and how the genius will quickly dispose and defeat the Birdman. So perhaps some genius Koko matches coming in the summer of '89. The Black Knight going to take Koko down, strutting across the ring. Good rope running sequence leading to Koko landing a pair of arm drags and the Knight going to bail out to the floor. Now back inside, the Birdman goes for the mask of the Masked Man. But the Black Knight going to cut Koko off, take him back to the corner. Some cheap tactics there, but that's fair. Koko going for the man's mask. Can't say that I blame him. Ware, though, going to reverse an Irish whip and land a big backdrop, but the Knight's still fighting back. Boy, this Black Knight's got some fight in him. Big slam on the Birdman, but missing a middle rope elbow. Down goes the Black Knight. Koko's turn to the top rope. The Birdman off of the missile dropkick, setting up the Ghostbuster. Awesome Ghostbuster. Brainbuster about put Black Knight out to pasture, but it does put him out of his misery, at least here today on the program. Koko going over at 3 minutes and 38 seconds. As we roll off to this week's update, and Mean Gene Okerlund, this week it's all about, you guessed it, No Holds Barred, premiering this Friday. Tony Schiavone interviewing fans in attendance here in the arena about the upcoming NHB release. Well, I guess that could be Tony. All we actually see is an arm holding a microphone. Mean Gene says it's Tony. And some of these fans' responses clearly fed to them. And of course, we follow that with another clip of the movie. By the time we're done with this, we can put all these clips together and see the entire damn movie, the way this has been going on for the past month or so. But with No Holds Barred being released on Friday, Vince McMahon informing us we can also buy the No Holds Barred Magazine Special Edition WWF Magazine this Thursday on newsstands. Not really sure what you're going to do with it. A program for a movie. Very interesting, Vince. As we continue on, more action from the $1 Million Man with Virgil in his corner taking on Scott Colton. DiBiase with an insert promo here admits that Jake Roberts, he's cunning and devious, but Teddy refers to himself as the most devious mind in the world. DiBiase, nasty back elbow just to start the matchup, mauling Colton, while Jesse Ventura bitching on commentary about not being interviewed for the No Holds Barred magazine. The Hollywood man that he is, of course. Meanwhile, in the ring, though, DiBiase clearly making a statement this week to Jake Roberts, who's watching on somewhere, I'm sure. Power Slam sets up the $1 Million Dream, and another one-arm drop for this move. Interesting. Gets DiBiase the win, 2 minutes and 57 seconds. As Colton gets that $100 bill down the gullet, Vince again putting over Terry Betteridge for his creating of the $1 Million title belt.
Betteridge Jewelers, pal.
The comedy in this entire thing, if there is any, those recent lawsuits, the transcripts, the things that Vince paid for, literally jewelry from Betteridge Jewelers. Just can't get out of Connecticut, Vince. As we continue on, Hillbilly Jim again promoting No Holds Barred, June 2. Yeehaw! Then we get the full segment here on Superstars from last week's challenge of the Rockers and the Fabulous Rougeaus, as Vince McMahon alerting us,
you can't keep a good man down, pal.
Shawn Michaels already back in action on the house shows. That's good to know. Oh my god, holy shit. Even the Ultimate Warrior wants us all to go out and see No Holds Barred. Well, Bill Eadie made a little sense. I mean, he's in the movie, but the Warrior? Man, what are we doing here? Everybody going out to see No Holds Barred. As we continue on back to the ring singles action featuring Bret the Hitman Hart taking on Randy Spears. We get an insert promo from Mr. Perfect, who tells the Hitman he better believe that perfection exists when they step in the ring. Bret will learn what to expect from Mr. Perfect. Well, he's no genius, but at least he tried to rhyme there, Kurt Hennig. The referee for this one is Ron Garvin, as we get a really weird inverted atomic drop. Bret doesn't seem to like Mr. Spears very much here in this match. I'm not sure if Spears screwed something up, but he's a little snug on Mr. Spears as he backbreaker and pile driver, putting him away. The Hitman going over 2 minutes, 28 seconds. And for some reason, I'm not really sure what the deal is, but the Hart Foundation theme music sped up this week, playing a little faster than usual. Interesting. As we continue on, off to the Brother Love show with special guest Zeus. Brother Love promises to go watch No Holds Barred this Friday night, but not to see Hulk Hogan, but rather to see the real star, yes, of No Holds Barred. He introduces Brother Zeus. And out comes Zeus in full Zeus attire, shoulder pads and all. Brother Love putting him over as the bigger, better, badder star and more powerful than Hulk Hogan. Superior in every way to the Hulkster. Zeus just standing there menacing as Bruce Pritchard putting him over. Finally, Zeus going to be gifted the mic, telling the Hulkster that he is bigger, he is badder, and Zeus will destroy Hulk Hogan. As we see clips interspersed, Zeus destroying guys in the movie in between the promo lines of Zeus on the Brother Love show. So it sounds like there might be plans in the works to continue the feud of Hulk Hogan and Zeus from the big screen to the WWF ring. Speaking of the ring, we go back to the action. Dino Bravo out here with Jimmy Hart in his corner taking on Warren Bianchi. We get another insert promo from the Mighty Hercules. He's heard the lies of how Dino Bravo will embarrass the Mighty One, but that simply won't happen. Hercules says he won't be embarrassed. In the ring, Dino once again in that brand new shiny cape and white trunks, white knee pads to boot. Dino Bravo with an inverted atomic drop, big elbow drop on Bianchi. Little beating on the chest. Got to get over here. King Kong ain't got shit on Dino Bravo with the airplane spin and side suplex, Jess. Going to get the win, 2 minutes and 3 seconds. The Canadian strongman, another victory here on TV, and another clip from No Holds Barred is Hogan going to take out an entire diner of assholes, it would appear. And I'm looking forward to calling that there with John Paz in the days to come as we continue on. One more match this week. It would seem tag team champions Demolition taking on Tom Stone and Mike Thomas. We get an insert promo here from Slick and his Twin Towers, promising to be the next tag team champions. In the ring, smash, demolish, and destroy on poor Tom Stone. Mike Thomas going to tag in, but he only takes a turn as well at said destruction before smash with a nice hot shot on Thomas, setting up the decapitation, putting the tag team champions Demolition over. 2 minutes and 16 seconds, wrapping up Superstars this week. Next week on the program, we learn Brother Love's guest will be the Doctor of Style Slick. Wonder what he's going to have to say. Also, we're going to see in action Brutus the Barber Beefcake, the Brainbusters, Greg the Hammer Valentine, Tito Santana, King Duggan, the Barbarian. Wow, clearly May sweeps are over. Look at this list. Looks like a B show all day. And the very first vignette of a very familiar face, if you will. However, tonight on Saturday night's main event, which we can't mention by name here on syndication, but it is the big show coming this Saturday night, tonight, in fact. So we've got one big event coming up tonight, and of course the premiere of No Holds Barred upcoming on Friday, but right now they throw to promos from the Big Boss Man and Slick, as well as Hulk Hogan, both sides standing behind the big blue bars to hype their big cage match for this weekend on that other show, on that other channel, NBC. The Big Boss Man says he's back where he belongs, working within the confines of the steel cage. The Hulkster talks business before pleasure. First, business. It's the big cage fight here tonight, but then Friday night, everybody can enjoy No Holds Barred. What you gonna do? As we continue on, Wrestling Challenge May the 28th, tape back April 25th, Des Moines, Iowa. Little tweak in the theme, as I mentioned here this week. They'll keep this one, actually. So this is the one we'll come to know and love over the next couple years. It's Bobby Heenan, Gorilla Monsoon on commentary here as we roll off to the ring to see Jake the Snake Roberts take on Tom Burton. We get an insert promo here for the $1 Million Man who continues to state he is even more devious than the Snake Man. In the ring, Jake going to work the arm of Burton as loud DDT chants begin from the fans. Burton surprising the Snake Man with a hip toss and a nice shoulder tackle, plowing Roberts down to the mat. But Jake simply smiles, recovers, gets back to his feet, and runs right through Burton with a tackle of his own. Jake loved that one before setting things up. Short clothesline and the DDT going to get the win here. 3 minutes and 41 seconds. And post-match, little Damien fun that even referee Danny Davis won't get involved with. Super loud crowd here for Jake the Snake. Unfortunately, this match here also marks Jake's final TV bout until the fall due to the aforementioned legal issues. So this is pretty much here for the Jake DiBiase feud until the fall. Going to put everything on hold. And again, sad to see considering how over Jake really was as we go off to Special Report with Tony Schiavone? See, it ain't so. Alfred's not gone, is he? We'll have to wait. Tony Schiavone again interviewing more fans about No Holds Barred, which opens Friday. Finally. Naturally, everybody wants to go see the movie as we get another trailer played of No Holds Barred. Then back to the ring for Big John Studd taking on Al Burke, a big boy in his own right, but not compared to John. We get an insert promo here from Andre the Giant, who says that Studd is going to find out there was only one real giant in the WWF. I think he's going to find out very quickly here. Studd launching Burke across the ring right out of a tie-up here. Now, Burke going to try an Irish whip, but that's a no-go. Studd not even moving for it. A for effort, though, Al. He continues to try, but the emphasis is heavily on try. Is Burke going to climb the ropes, John Studd simply going to yank him off. Big backdrop, big slam, and big bear hug. Going to give John Studd the submission win, 1 minute and 54 seconds. Well, Studd found a way to stop taking bumps completely here, eliminating the suplexes he had been doing from his repertoire, and the Oklahoma roll for that matter. But much like Jake in the last match, this is Studd's final TV match as well. Only Big John won't be returning. As we will discuss in the June news episode of The Grenade upcoming in a couple weeks, John Studd will abruptly quit the WWF just prior to the June 6th TV tapings. Now, Dave Meltzer claimed that Studd was upset with his WrestleMania 5 payoff, reportedly $8,500 to act as the referee for the Andre-Jake feud. That's roughly almost $35,000 today. I take that to be a referee, especially a shitty referee. But Dave also reported a lot of guys were unhappy with their WrestleMania 5 paydays, which had not only been higher in previous years, but they also grossed the most money ever, let's remember, at WrestleMania 5. So a lot of guys unhappy with the payoffs. Apparently Big John, one of them. Now, take this for what it's worth. Bruce Pritchard on the podcast has also mentioned that Studd was not a fan of working with Andre, that Andre was essentially bullying Studd every night, yanking, pulling on his hair, stepping on his hair, just stiffing John every chance he got, and that John simply had enough and quit the company over those specific situations. So now, Big John Studd going to pop up on some indie cards later on, South Atlantic Pro in 1990, I know for sure, but this was it as far as national runs go. An epic failure in the ring here and at the box office of the C shows as well over the last few months. Big John Studd, his run would last only 5 months here. Into 1989, winner of the Royal Rumble, and not much else. Big John Studd, so long, pal. As we continue on, the Bushwhackers promoting No Holds Barred. Could you imagine them at your movie theater? Then it's back to the ring for tag team action involving the Twin Towers, the Big Boss Man and Hakeem. Manager Slick taking on JT Thomas and Red Tyler. As we get an insert promo here from Demolition. Axe telling the Towers, you want a title shot? Just sign the dotted line. In the ring, JT Thomas, Red Tyler, two well put together job guys, but still just job guys. As Thomas going to miss a reverse crossbody, the Towers are going to maul JT. Hakeem even taking a moment to dance in between, brother. During the match, though, we hear Hogan chants, which upset the Big Boss Man as he beats down poor Red Tyler. Double avalanche splash in the corner on Tyler before Air Africa, the big splash, putting Red away 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And post-match, poor JT Thomas handcuffed to the ropes and beaten by the nightstick of the Boss Man. Well, okay. It's good to see Lord Alfred still around. We saw it earlier with Tony Schiavone. I guess this week it's a double dose of special report. And this time hosted by Alfred Hayes. We see a clip of last week's Rougeaus attack on the Rockers. Big angle there on Challenge. We were promised an update on the condition of Shawn Michaels this week, though they don't really give us one here. And unlike how Vince McMahon at least mentioned Shawn's current status on Superstars, Gorilla and Bobby quickly move on from the topic altogether. No status update on HBK, but as Vince said, he is already back in action as we know. So we continue on, more action in the ring here this week. The Red Rooster taking on Tom Stock. Referee here, Ronnie Garvin. Boy, does Ronnie get every Rooster match? We get an insert promo from the Brooklyn Brawler, who is sick of the Rooster Boosters cheering Terry Taylor. Brawler going to shut them up by plucking Taylor's feathers one by one. So this is still going on, it would seem. Meanwhile, in the ring, Terry Taylor, nice drop kick, patented 5-arm across Stock's face, jawbreaker here, and a swinging neck breaker, or as Brain calls it, a reverse cock-a-doodle-doo, which even gets a pop from Gorilla. Works the arm here, does Terry Taylor, before landing that elevated chicken wing, getting the submission win, 3 minutes and 50 seconds. As the Crows begin to play the Rooster out, Bobby says, uh-oh, I hear his mother calling. Womp, womp, womp. Bobby Heenan having fun here with the Red Rooster, and a legitimate pop there from Gorilla Monsoon when Bobby names the neckbreaker a reverse cock-a-doodle-doo. As we continue on, special interview up on the platform, Mean Gene with Zeus, the behemoth Zeus, pal. We heard him on the Brother Love show. Now it's Mean Gene's turn to make Zeus look like a star. as they again state that Zeus is the real star of No Holds Barred. Zeus says he is bigger, better, and badder than Hulk Hogan, implying he wants to wrestle the Hulkster for real. And I put air quotes around for real. Outside of the movies, pal. Biggest premiere in movie history coming up this Friday, says Mean Gene. Coming to a theater near you. It is No Holds Barred, the final sell, guys. Now all we have to do is deal with the weeks of the fallout of everybody praising the movie. And make no mistake, if you're on the payroll, you will be praising the movie as we go back to the ring for Mr. Perfect, taking on Frank DeFalco. We get an insert promo here from Bret Hart, who admits that Hennig is flawless, but he's still not perfect. The only thing perfect about Curt Hennig is the perfect mistake he makes when he steps in the ring with the Hitman. Execution excellence. Danny Davis, the referee for this one. Mr. Perfect slapping DeFalco early seems to upset Frankie, but what's he going to do? Doesn't get very far. Is Hennig going to work his leg? Danny Davis keeping Hennig honest, though. Going to make sure he follows the rules of the matchup. DeFalco with a quick flurry of offense in the corner, but Mr. Perfect blasting him with the axe across the face. And now you're going to see a perfect plex. Gets the win, 3 minutes and 8 seconds. And a little stomping of DeFalco post-match as well. Extra aggression here for Mr. Perfect this week as No Holds Barred, pal, is coming Friday. Buddy, if you have watched any WWF, and I mean any WWF wrestling, and said you didn't realize this movie was happening, you'd be a liar. It's free advertising, though, pal, to the core wrestling audience. As we continue on, closing out Wrestling Challenge, rare sighting here on syndicated TV of Hillbilly Jim taking on Chris Curtis. And Hillbilly with a little do-si-do, ring announcer Mike McGurk out here dancing with HBJ pre-match. If only Leroy McGurk could see this, or could see anything for that matter. A rarity for TV, though. Hillbilly hasn't really been on the road full-time in over 2 years at this point, and he averages about one syndicated TV match over that time as well. Anywho, we get an insert promo here from Honky Tonk Man, who holds up his guitar, says it's time to play a new tune on that big hick from Mudlick, Hillbilly Jim. Meanwhile, in the ring, Chris Curtis refusing a handshake by slapping away Hillbilly. Tries for a sucker punch, does Curtis, but Jim blocks it and stomps Curtis on the foot. Wee dog, is Hillbilly dominating this one. Big boot, putting Chris Curtis away, 2 minutes and 26 seconds. A little cartwheel, little hoedown. Fun afterwards for the matchup. Hillbilly Jim and Honky Tonk Man will continue. Thankfully for Honky, well, Hillbilly even, I'm sure the payday will increase when Big John Studd quits. Hillbilly going to be replacing him on some house shows. I don't know what Andre has to say about that, but next week on Wrestling Challenge, we learn that Haku, minus the King, will be here, along with Jim the Anvil Neidhart in singles competition, the Bushwhackers. My goodness, very light. Oh yeah, May Sweeps is over. It's going to be June. Plus, we're also going to see the Honky Tonk Man, Rick Martel, the fabulous Rougeaus, the Ultimate Warrior, going to be here in a special interview with Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Special indeed. Don't forget, this weekend is Saturday night's main event. We get closing comments once again from the Big Boss Man and Hulk Hogan about their big cage match before moving on to our final piece of business this week, Primetime Wrestling, May the 29th, hosted by Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan. The entire Primetime set now decked out in No Holds Barred regalia, posters, shirts laying everywhere. Really cheap-looking shirts, I might add. And Tony Schiavone, that little runt, going to debut his Coliseum Video Corner. Bobby called you runt, Tony, not me. And we got a couple sound bites for you here again this week on Primetime Wrestling. Gorilla Monsoon going off on Zeus.
What a linguist. What a fantastic vocabulary on Zeus. I was amazed. What a dummy.
Oh, a dummy?
Yeah, a dummy. Yeah, you heard me. You call anybody you want.
I don't have Zeus's number.
Yeah, too bad.
If I could get a hold of him right now.
Do you think he's intelligent enough to know how to use a telephone?
What are you thinking? He's a moron?
You got it.
An imbecile?
Yeah, I'll mark that down.
I
you
never called him
a
an imbecile. You just called him that.
And an imbecile.
Zeus, I never said a word about you. He's one of my best friends. He's over at the house almost all the time.
You pick him up in the red limo, right? Take him right over there.
Talk about the red limo. He loves my red limousine I send for him, and you make fun of
the
it.
red rolls.
It's a Bentley.
Oh, sorry. I don't own any of those kind of cars, so sometimes I don't know the difference between a Rolls and a Bentley.
No, you're fine in the Pinto.
Oh, thank you very much.
What a dummy. What a vocabulary there on Zeus, and holy shit. Now, I posted this on social media, and it really took off, but the reference Gorilla Monsoon, they're talking about picking Zeus up in a red limo. Bobby laughing. Covers it well, but Bobby popping for the comment. Now, Bruce Pritchard had told this story quite a while ago, the Something to Wrestle episode he did on Zeus. He talks about Zeus growing up in a Crip neighborhood, which was essentially a blue neighborhood, if you know things about street gangs. And the Crips were always feuding with the Bloods, and their color was red. Now, they had sent a rental car at some point during this time period to pick Zeus up from the hotel or whatever, and he refused to get in the car because he couldn't be seen in red. And so Gorilla kind of referencing that here on Primetime Wrestling, and Bobby popping for it. So Gorilla clearly not a fan of Tiny Lister. As we continue on, we've got another soundbite for you guys here. Bobby Heenan, sick of being belittled on the program, perhaps teasing things to come.
Bad news, Brown.
No, there's not going to be
Brawler,
50
we're going to
tickets
defeat
waiting for you at anything.
Hillbilly Jim and the Blue Blazer. There was never any doubt.
Fraud. In fact, in the weeks to come, you might not even see him anymore here on Prime Time.
Who are you talking to?
You're right. All right, Phil.
Who's he talking to?
I appreciate it, but, don't count on it.
Who is he talking to? Does anybody here know anything? Who are you talking to?
Yeah, one of your friends called Phil that you promised 50 tickets to the movie.
I don't know anybody named Phil.
Well,
let me tell you something right now. Now, we go back and forth a lot and have our little set-tos and stuff and argue. But don't ever, on the television, say that you're going to replace me.
Don't ever say
that. I'm serious about this right now, because if anybody's going to be replaced, it'd be you.
Me?
You.
I'm the host of the program.
I don't care what you are. Tired of being belittled. And
if you didn't do some of the stupid things you do, you wouldn't be belittled.
I don't do nothing stupid. I'm associated with idiots.
Well, folks, that does it for this edition of Primetime Wrestling. Be sure and join us next week when we will be on location, and we will be taking a look at the Hulkster at Zeus, and you can crumble up papers or do whatever you want. We're going to be inside a theater, and we're going to have a good time whether you like it or not.
Oh, I'll like it, because I make the best of any bad situation.
You do.
And I had an idea. Rather than put up with you and...
You're going to leave?
No, I'm not going to leave.
Oh.
But
sorry.
I don't need anybody else.
There were some hopes there, folks.
You keep bringing on these Tony Schiavones. You keep bringing on all these other guys.
Sure, because you're incompetent.
I can put a stop to that just like that.
Do it.
I'll go get my own show.
Whatever your little heart desires.
I won't have to put up with you.
Why don't you do it?
I won't have to put up with these 9 or so people out there, people back in the booth, the guests you bring on, the large sisters, and everybody else.
Why don't you just
do my own guests? Because they need me here.
Until next week, Gorilla Monsoon saying so long.
Well, Bobby, sick of being belittled, threatening to create his own show with his own guests. The seeds are planted. And referring to the Rosatis there as the Lard Sisters. Unbelievable. Well, another fun line in the show. I didn't grab the soundbite here, but Bobby Heenan talking about the ongoing house show feud between Mr. Perfect and Bret Hart. He says he has to give the nod, the win to Kurt Hennig only because Bret is Canadian, and thus he gives 25% less on every exchange. Little rim shot there. Currency joke is what Bobby was making. We've got a few exclusives here again this week. All of them taped May the 16th in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Haku over at Jim Evans with the thrust kick. Does it every time. That match goes 309. Rick Martel over Tim Horner. Fun little TV match. Gets the knee drop, diving knee off the top rope, giving Martel the win, 743. And Bad News Brown in tag team action. There's a rarity. Teaming with New York City alumni, Brooklyn Brawler. Bad News and Brooklyn Brawler. Brooklyn and Harlem coming together to defeat the extremely odd pairing of the Blue Blazer and Hillbilly Jim. Perhaps Hillbilly thought the Blazer was a chicken. I'm not really sure what this is about, but it's Brown and Brawler going over handily in 5.5 minutes. The Ghetto Blaster putting Owen Hart down. So I don't know if it's back-to-back weeks, but 2 out of the last 3 weeks at the very least. The Blue Blazer in these makeshift teams with Coco against the Brainbusters, now with Hillbilly against Bad News and Brawler, another makeshift team. And it's Owen doing the job to finishers each time. Doesn't say much for the future of Owen Hart, which won't be long here in the company. Stay tuned for June. Well, we learn next week here on Primetime Wrestling, they'll be on location, a theater near you for No Holds Barred. But also next week, guys, right here on The Grenade, it's Saturday night's main event. The Macho Man Randy Savage taking on Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Brand new king of the WWF, Jim Duggan, meeting Intercontinental Champion Ravishing Rick Rude. Could Duggan steal 2 crowns from the Heenan family in just as many weeks? Plus the return of the Superfly, Jimmy Snuka, finally going to be returning to action, battling Boris Zukov. Meanwhile, the Brainbusters will challenge Demolition for the WWF Tag Team titles. And we talked about it, the World Wrestling Federation champion Hulk Hogan defending his title against the Big Boss Man inside that 15-foot-high steel cage. The big blue bars, all of that going down right here next week on the Grenade and going down very soon as part of the big ones. Patreon.com/WrestleCopia and that ultimate tier. Go check it out right now, guys. But for this week, running long, so many happenings going on in the last couple weeks of WWF TV. Appreciate you guys for being here for it. Sorry for the noise in the background if it's being picked up. We're trying something a little different here, a little acoustics change in environment for this week only. The weather, it's 90 degrees outside, nice weather. Open the windows, getting things aired out, and the birds are chirping, guys, and I do apologize for about that. So maybe a little extra visiting. I'm sure people like the Red Rooster and Coco Beware would approve at the very least. But for right now, we are going to wrap it up. Be back with Saturday night's main event and so much more. Episode 198 right around the corner, coming so close to that number 200 milestone. But for now, we say goodbye. This is Ray Russell saying from pillar to post and coast to coast, you pull the pin, I'll pick up the pieces. Right here on the Wrestling Memory Grenade. I'll see you next week. Don't miss it. Be there.
What a linguist. What a fantastic vocabulary on Zeus. I was amazed. What a dummy.
Too bad. If I could get a hold of him right now.
Do you think he's intelligent enough to know how to use a telephone?
What are you thinking? He's a moron?
You got it.
An imbecile?
Yeah, I'll mark that down.
I
you
never
called
him an imbecile. You just called him that.
And an imbecile.
Zeus, I never said a word about you. He's one of my best friends. He's over at the house almost all the time.
You pick him up in the red limo, right? Take him right over there.
You know, talk about the red limo.